I'm sorry to be talking about these fellas, but there's there's three of them, and they are a band or whatever you want to call it called Kneecap, and they've just released a movie with the same name title. Now, first things first, I believe a lot of the movie is done in Gaelic, it's done in Irish, using the Irish language, and I think that's a great thing. That's lovely. With that being said, we give the credit there where it's due. But with that being said, I look at these fellas the same way I look at the rubber bandits, right? These these lads that rubber bandits especially that did not grow up in the area or surrounded by the people that they are caricaturing or they're making a parody of. These fellas, little fresh faces on them. You see the third fella near the end of the video. Life looks like it hasn't touched these boys in any way, right? But with that being said, they're a walking contradiction. And I get the image of vultures picking the meat off a once great dead Irish wolfhound. You know, they are monetizing Irish misery, they're monetizing Irish history, and they are taking the piss out of it essentially. And this fella with the bally on, his name is DJ Provo, essentially, right? And I suppose to me, it shows when you hear their political views and their social views, it shows to me, not to be stoking fires or tensions here, but it shows to me that elements of the provisional IRA, the guiding hand behind that, they've landed in a sweet spot now where they wanted to be. And that is in the sort of political Marxist leaning or Marxist entrenched perspective of things, a materialist perspective. They forewent or they foregone the Irish soul and spirit was denied, right, or neglected by these people. And instead they went for a purely materialistic and Marxist political ideology, right? So the fact that this fella is allowed walk around with this thing on speaks volumes to me. Speaks absolute volumes to me. Now we'll have a listen to what they're saying.
It doesn't represent the people of Belfast, and I think everybody should go out and support all these shops and businesses that are being attacked. And it's not what we stand up for. And with it, like the Irish are one of the people who immigrated.
Hang on there now, and I just remember my lines.
The most all around the world, and it wasn't for people accepting us all around the world, we wouldn't be anywhere. We'd be in America or whatever country.
What are you trying to say there? Like, I suppose when you're listening to someone who's obviously as mentally deficient as this fella is, you kind of fill in the gaps for him. Because what he said there made no sense. If it wasn't for other countries that we went to, then we wouldn't really be anywhere. What? Again, it's this same old stupid rolled out thing that because Irish people had to go to different countries and millions probably dying along the way, they built themselves up and pulled themselves up from their own shoelaces if they had any, which they probably didn't. And they built and they worked and all that stuff, right? So therefore, we should accept the imposition of tens of thousands of foreign men on Irish soil. That's what he's saying to you. While he's wearing, or while he's friends with, a fella calling himself DJ Provo and wearing a balaclava. Like I said at the start, these boys are absolute walking contradictions. And it'd be funny if what they're dabbling with and meddling with wasn't very, very serious, right? So we'll see your man with the hat on or the mask on now bail his little friend out because your man on the right can't remember his lines.
People have very short memories, you know. Yeah, it's pretty long ago that we were getting the same kind of treatment in England and around other places around the world. So I think now is the time for people to stand up and just show support and solidarity because
solidarity, like that same old nonsense word, right? So that word is laced in communism anyway, right? And his friend bailed him out there. And he's saying it wasn't that long ago that we were getting the same treatment. What treatment is that then? Because what they're doing is they are jumping over the initial action that may or may not lead to the second action, which is what they're showing disgust with, and what they're saying they need to display solidarity around, right? So the initial action is Irish people and the Irish land being forced to accept tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of foreigners, men, in this country and surrounding Irish people. And Irish people don't want that. It wasn't that long ago that these boys, DJ Provo, where he takes his name is from the Provisional IRA. It wasn't that long ago that they were fighting against that, allegedly. I'm sure some were, but the guiding hand behind that, I'm not so sure about that anymore. Not just because of these fools, but I'm not so sure about that. So let's just take it as the official story that the Provisional IRA are armed and they're fighting to try and get the English occupation out of Ireland, right? That's what regular Irish people are doing now. They're putting their livelihoods and they're putting their reputation and their lives on the line to fight against occupying forces coming into this country. And tyrannical, authoritarian, fascist, let's not let these people steal the word, because what the government is now is a total fascist system in bed with all sorts of big industries and corporations. Okay? So, again, these boys are walking contradictions.
I don't think it's right, because they'll ride against these people and then go to the hospital, and then it'll be people of colour who'll be treating them, and they won't think twice about it. So,
again, none of this has anything to do with the next thing he's saying. It's just soundbite, soundbite, soundbite. There's no logic involved in any of this. So, why are our hospitals staffed by foreign people? Because the Irish government and the Irish people that allowed this to go on for so long have built a society where young Irish people don't feel like they have a future in this country. Now, they still chose to go, right? They could have stayed here and changed it. Valid argument. But he doesn't want to address that. They skipped the first point, and their job here is to guide you over that first point. And they're throwing the contradiction in your face so blatantly that they're hoping you're thinking, sure, they couldn't be contradicting themselves here by pretending to be a member of the Provisional IRA, whose role was, or purpose it was, to get foreign occupation out of this country, while advocating for foreign occupation of this country and trying to shame you when you stand up against it. So they're trying to skip over that point and go straight to, well, look, what people are just reacting because they're just racist. And he says so himself here.
I think it's just outright racism, and I think we need to stand together and show solidarity. The businesses that they're ruining, are contributing more.
Look at Babyface here. Look at this fella. Life has been very good to him. I would imagine life has been very good to these boys. There's very little information you can find on these people. You know? And the fact that, listen to this clown first.
Society than these people, and they all need to get a good look at themselves. They're all in their 20s, 30s and 40s now. Get off YouTube.
Again, like, these people are, I would say, close enough to being a vegetable state in terms of their thinking. They're just throwing out sound bites. None of it means anything. They're not stringing point to point to point to make an overall argument of anything. So his argument is they're ruining businesses, and the businesses are offering more to society than these people are. How do you know? What do you know? Do you know these people? You don't. Do you know? You don't. These are your own people you're talking about, you clown. So again, these boys, and you see in another interview, the record label they're after signing with, and I believe the studio or the producer of the movie, English. Fine and well. But these boys will tell you that, yeah, look, as an English fella come over and got in touch with us about the movie. And boo, yeah, English, woo. And they ridicule English, the fact that he's English, in the interview, while still taking the breadcrumbs off him. And they are hoping that you will fund your money towards them because they're wearing a tricolour balaclava and they speak Irish. That means nothing. That means absolutely nothing. And the reason why I'm even talking about these clowns is because of the dangerous waters that we're in at the moment. So they're talking to them about the Belfast issue, right? And the scenes that were on Belfast. The danger with this is that you get people who are probably heart in the right place go and watch this film and have a real emotional reaction to Irish history, okay? Because the movie's, I suppose, the spin they're putting on it, or the selling point is that the movie's in the Irish language, okay? So which entails the whole of Irish history and the domination and the attempt to destroy and eradicate the Irish language, which comes along with centuries and centuries of abuse and occupation, foreign occupation on Irish soil, and the murder of Irish people and the splitting of the country, okay? And these boys out of the other side of their mouth, they'll take your money because that's what you think you're paying for. You think you're backing these boys. If you are, if you're not seeing through this nonsense, you think this heavily promoted nonsense, I might add, you think you're backing these pro-Irish or prideful Irish people. You're not. What you're backing here is the support of an occupying force coming into Ireland and being in Ireland. And these boys are happy enough to slander you if you've anything to say about it. So, dangerous stuff.